Hello, Satnam. My name is Robin, and at the time of this recording, a friend is helping his grandmother pass over into the ancestral world. So I was asked to create or just share information because 4 years ago I did help my father in his transition to the ancestral world. And how I did that was I opened up a fire portal. Bit of my background, I have been trained in the art of ancestral divination by the late Elder Malidoma Some of the Degara lineage. And I've also studied and done intensive healing for myself and to do support others with Iboga and sharing what I can of the Bwiti spiritual tradition native to Gabon, Africa. I guess I was always a free spirit. And spirituality has just been something that is innate within my very being. I did not grow up with religion or any organized denomination. I just kind of was like a muggle, if you've ever read or watched the Harry Potter series. I liken my upbringing to being a muggle, a non-magical person, until I was 19, and then I had the deep privilege and opportunity to awaken my mind, to heal my mind, reconnect with my soul, learn who I truly am with the medicine of Iboga, under the guidance of a Gabonese Bwiti shaman. Fast forward to when I was 32 years old, helping my father pass away. He had a condition called ALS, and within a year's time of diagnosis, also during the COVID era, he opted for medical assistance in dying. Now, it's not available in all states. Across Canada it is, and that is where he passed away, in Ontario. So cut to the chase, this video is actually to share the practical application steps that I did go through to help my friend. And I'm certain some other people in the world that might have the deep privilege and opportunity to assist a loved one in passing over to the ancestral side. Okay, so, foundationally, we want to speak about, my life is here because I have a mother and a father. Regardless of the relationship with your mom and dad or the grandmothers, grandfathers, et cetera, all the way up the line, your life is here by virtue of the ancestors. I actually have that tattooed on my arm. It says family, ancestors, community. And there's the SOS symbols around that. And what that means for me is that, one, family is number one. I have my own children, husband, and, that's my core family. And then ancestors, all those who came before me, who made my life possible. And I also love to include friends who have passed on, and even animal companions, the ancestors of the land that I find myself on here in the traditional unceded territory of the Sht'atnam Nation, and ancestors from the ancient wisdom traditions of Africa, namely Gabon and Burkina Faso, that I've had the privilege to study under and help heal my life. The earth, we got one planet. And we have fire, water, nature, which includes air, mineral, the rocks, the stones, the sand, the bones within your very body, and we have the earth. Okay? So we have, in the Degara lineage, 5 main elements, which are animated by spirit, which is also akin in the Bwiti tradition, which is based in animism, that everything is alive and animated with spirit. Okay, everything of nature, rather, let's say, including humans. So when a human being is passing, what's happening is that their soul, the life force energy, prana, let's call it soul for this example here, this experience rather, the soul will continue on into the great beyond, the next chapter of that soul's evolution. And what's left behind is, of course, the physical body. And, the mind ceases to have a channel to be used by. Okay? Your entire life, you are not your mind. You are Bessie, yow yow, that ding right there. You are not your mind. You're a soul. You're a soul with a mind and a body. And the body is like the vehicle. So when my father was passing, His vehicle, it was actually still relatively working well. He could, actually, that's not true. It deteriorated quite quickly. Gosh, feels like forever ago. Um, but mostly what I was trying to say actually is that his mind was still intact. His body deteriorated quite quickly. I think what I was catching on there was just like his energy, his essence was still very much alive in his eyes. And I could communicate with him with this like little alphabet chart, and he could tell us cool things, and we could, still have some semblance of communication. In that time, count yourself lucky if if you know that your family member is crossing over, because you can use that time to be present, to have deep conversations, to ask them questions about their life, to really listen. I would invite you to ask them about their family, the names, the stories of everyone in your lineage from their side. Because once, one person dies, especially an elder, we lose a depth of information, of knowledge, and a lifetime of wisdom. So I would highly invite you to do that. With my father, for example, him and I used to partake in cannabis, smoke weed together, and I always find that highly enlightening. And when, at one of the last ceremonies of cannabis we had together, um, I just felt compelled to just apologize for everything I had done that hurt him. And he accepted it, and he said to me, "I'm sorry for anything I did to hurt you." So there was that catharsis, that depth of healing, that I am very privileged to have had. Because as a soul passes through to the ancestral world, as the late Elder Maladoma taught me, there is an opportunity for them to review their life, to see where their actions may have caused harm, kind of like a boulder falling into still waters. There's going to be ripples all in all directions, maybe to the depths that you can't even see, and even up in the air, the mist, so there's like, your life has impact no matter how big or small. So for an ancestor who has recently crossed over, they can see how their life was great, and they help people, and also where there's still reverberating sadness or anger. So the ancestors are here once they cross over, that you can call on them and you can say, "Hey, Dad, Grandma, whoever it is, I call upon you to help me with these tasks." If, like I did with my father, I told him, I was like, "Dad, I'm gonna put you to work when you're on the other side." I'm honored to maintain through my ancestral altar, a simple altar you can have in your house: red cloth, cup of water representing the pool of all your ancestors, some photos of the loved ones that have passed on, and you keep their memory alive. But also, it's like a doorway, it's like a portal, another portal that you can use to call on their spirits, their essence, to help you, because now that they're on the other side, they can see, oh my gosh, lovely grandson, there's this big wall in front of you, but there's actually an easy way around it, or there's a doorway that you can't even know. Here's the code to the door, and you can, but you have to ask them, and you have to give them permission to help you in your life, because as the remaining physical beings in our family line, we're actually looked at. We, the living ones, are looked at as an authority in the living world, in the physical world, by the ancestors. Okay, so I'll flip that script in your head. But getting back to the point of this video. What I did for my father, we knew the day he was going to pass, June 1st, 2021, a few months before my son was born, my 4-year-old. And I went and I created a fire. We were not here in my house, but outside it was a beautiful chimenea. And, a few years prior, he had told my mom, "Oh, this would be a wonderful place to die." I wonder, if his soul was really tuning into the future. Anywho, so I started opening up this portal. Okay, so first I got all natural materials. You don't want to have any plastics or garbage or like cigarette butts in the fire. You're going to clear it all out. Okay, and then you're going to take, kindling, dry kindling. I stacked it 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2. Okay, so you make 3 layers. This is actually what I learned from the Bhuti tradition. So you're 3 layers representing mind, body, and soul. And you can take some other pieces of kindling and put it in, so it's like sticking up. And then in between the layers, you can put, natural, like papers or um, just anything that's dry and natural, leaves, dry grass, whatever, All the while, the most important facet of building the sacred fire as a portal is you're using your mind, your connection to the spirit world, and you're speaking from your heart. And you're talking to the ancestors on the other side. Maybe if it's your grandmother that's passing, you're calling on their mother and father and their grandparents, and if you know them by name, great. If not, just say grandmothers, grandfathers, and say your daughter, her name is passing over, and please, I'm asking that you help guide her soul to the ancestral world with ease and grace, whatever it is that you ask of the ancestors to do. My personal asking this whole time I'm building the sacred fire was talking to my dad's mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, your son's coming home tonight. Please walk him home. Please help him, guide him there. This is what the doctor's going to come and give him this medicine, and he's going to just go to sleep. Please, I'm going to build this fire, and I'm going to tell him and all of our relations here what's happening, so that, this is an open doorway for his soul to go through when it's time to leave his body. You can put flowers, sugar offerings, candy, maybe alcohol, items of food or drink that this loved one that is passing away likes, and of course, involve them in the conversation, show them what you're doing. It can be an incredibly beautifully reassurance that somebody in their family is aware and knows that you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to cross through that portal. You're going to be welcomed with the most loving kindness. You're going home. We're not scared of home. Home is home, right? Love, peace, happiness, right? All that. So what I witnessed with my father was when it was his time. Right before that, he managed to ask my mom and my sister and I to give him a kiss. We couldn't understand what he was saying. He was kind of getting frustrated, but we finally understood. And so I gave him a kiss on his right cheek. My mother kissed him here, and my sister kissed him here. My husband actually took a picture of this. It's incredible. ALS had taken away the ability for him to smile. And it was really hard because he was such an expressive, creative, comedic musician kind of dude. But when we all kissed him, his last wish, his whole face lit up. It's incredibly beautiful. And then when the time came, he did a big yawn, and I was holding his hand, and the fire was raging, and I had told him, mom and dad are going to come walk you home. And he closed his eyes, and I put my head on his shoulder, and I said, ancestors, please walk dad home now. And I kid you not, you can't write this stuff, but from my right ear, where the fire was in front of, I heard, walk this way, in stereo, only from my right ear from the fire. It was the ancestors responding to my call. There's so much more to this beautiful story, but in a nutshell, 2 days later, when I had the strength to listen to that song by Aerosmith, Walk This Way, I just started crying and laughing at the same time, because I realized part of the song goes, just give me a kiss. Another note I want to add on here, I know it's a long video, but it's so worth it. Your family member is worth it. You are a way shower for a new way of being, of catering in the ancestors, and also maintaining their spirit and aliveness so they can continue to support you in your life as you move forward. Because the most important thing, if you ever have children or people that love, that, are you're a guardian for, the most important thing is that you can teach them how to communicate with you once you're gone. I was going to say something else. It's definitely important. Ask for a message. Ask for a sign. When they're still alive, this is my last note on this topic. While you're still having the conversations with your loved one, and just say, hey, grandma, can you please show me a sign? Be specific. Ask for something specific. I asked my father to show up as doves. I said, Dad, can you come back as doves? And he was just like, sure, okay, on that last day. And that's another video, I think, long stories and beautiful, but the reassurance and the beauty and majesty of the ancestors coming in, and to someone who's aware, someone who will pay attention to the specific sign that you asked for, that's how you'll know. So that's empowering. And thank you so much for the time of listening and receiving this information, because the truth is that you have a whole entourage of ancestors at your back, just waiting for your beck and call. And if you do, like I said, have the privilege of helping a loved one pass over, or if you are one that is passing over, just know that love is all there really is, and there's no need to fear. To fear death is a misunderstanding, and yeah, trust, love. All right, trust your ancestors, trust your soul.